Well, time now for the Day in Sport with Darren Mara. Darren, a heartfelt send-off to our friend Les Murray today, and also wonderful to hear that his legacy will live on.
That's right, Janice, and good evening to you. FFA Chief Executive David Gallup admits the governing body is likely to honour Les Murray with a lasting tribute. More than 1,000 people attended today's state funeral for the iconic SBS broadcaster who passed away a fortnight ago. Australian football's governing body says it will decide how to celebrate Mr Murray's contribution to the sport over the coming months.
That will be something that will be appropriate for a guy who was a pioneer in the sport.
Everyone gets behind the Socceroos, the Matildas, the A-League, but, you know, he did it at a time where it wasn't popular to do, and, you know, for me, that's where the greatest respect for him lies.
Sydney FC coach Graham Arnold has suggested naming the FFA Cup the Les Murray Cup. A career-best throw has lifted Danny Stevens to a silver medal in the women's discus at the World Athletics Championships. It's the 29-year-old's first podium finish at the event since winning gold in 2009. Her final throw of 69.64 metres is a new Australian and Commonwealth record. Stevens admits the personal best performance wasn't a surprise.
I knew that a PB was in me for a couple of years now, and I thought the Australian record was gettable for a couple of years, so I'm just so happy.
South African Caster Semenya says she's eyeing the 800 metres world record after cruising to victory on the final night in London, while Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt completed a lap of honour after failing to win gold in the final event of his career.
Someone said to me that, you say, don't worry, Muhammad Ali lost his last fight also, so don't be stressed about that. And for me, I've proven myself year in, year out.
Bolt says there's no way he'll return to sprinting. To football, and Real Madrid superstar Cristiano Ronaldo is facing a lengthy suspension after pushing a referee in the first leg of the Spanish Supercopa against Barcelona. Ronaldo put the European champions 2-1 ahead late in the second half with a stunning strike. The Portuguese captain received a second yellow card for diving minutes later. Well, he reacted angrily, shoving the referee, as you see there. Marco Asensio's wonder goal gave Madrid a 2-goal advantage heading into Thursday's second leg. Meanwhile, Neymar couldn't have asked for a better start to his Paris Saint-Germain career. The Brazilian forward scored in his first match for PSG following his world record $330 million transfer from Barcelona. Still on football, and Manchester United have made the perfect start to the English Premier League season, thrashing West Ham. $123 million signing Romelu Lukaku scored twice in his Old Trafford debut. Anthony Martial and Paul Pogba completed a comfortable victory for the Red Devils. While Newcastle was reduced to 10 men on its return to the top flight, captain Jonjo Shelvey was sent off for standing on Dele Alli. The Spurs midfielder broke the deadlock midway through the second half before Ben Davies added a second for Tottenham. Justin Thomas has secured his first major golf title, winning the PGA Championship. The American triumphed by 2 strokes at Quail Hollow. Jason Day was the best-placed Australian, finishing in a tie for 9th.
A third-generation golf professional, this was a family celebration for Team Thomas.
Justin Thomas.
It means a lot to have, you know, my grandpa. I wish he could have been here for it, but having my dad here, it's definitely something that we'll all share between the 3 of us.
Starting the day 2 shots off the pace, Justin Thomas trembled from the tee on the 10th.
Get lucky. And it hit some things pretty hard and got lucky. What about that?
The 24-year-old might have convinced his golf ball to listen to his driver, but on the green, surely the Kentuckian couldn't coax it home, though they say the key to putting is patience.
Look at that. It's another one dimple.
It's gone. Oh, my God. It's gone, yes.
In your life have you ever seen anything like that, Vern? Justin just in, and a breakthrough career major now within reach as Francesco Molinari applied the pressure.
Hello.
No sooner had the Italian announced himself when Thomas said goodbye for good to the chasers.
Tracking. Got it.
6 birdies completing a dream final round for the new PGA champion. Nick Vinden, SBS World News.
Western Force players Adam Coleman and Dane Haylett-Petty say they're committed to the axed Super Rugby franchise. The Wallabies representatives won't sign contracts elsewhere until every avenue of appeal is exhausted. Rugby WA has been granted a Supreme Court injunction against the ARU, halting the governing body from sacking or transferring players.
It's mixed emotions at the moment, angry, confused, disappointed. But I suppose as a group we're really sticking tight, and the process is not done yet. There's a lot of people back home still fighting the good fight. The fight's not over yet, and Dane believes that too, and so does the rest of Rugby WA community.
It comes as Australia prepares to face New Zealand in the Bledisloe Cup on Saturday night. Meanwhile, the Wallaroos World Cup dream is over after a crushing defeat to France. Australia conceded 8 unanswered tries in Dublin, ending its hopes of reaching the semi-finals. To the NRL, and Jared Hayne and Neil Henry will attempt to put their professional differences aside for another week. The Gold Coast board held an emergency meeting to discuss the strained relationship between player and coach, but failed to reach a resolution. Titans CEO Graham Annesley revealing talks will resume after Thursday night's match against the Eels.
It's broader than just what it might appear on the surface in relation to Jared and Neil. We are talking about people's lives and livelihoods here, and the board's not going to be rushed into making a decision.
Annesley says he isn't ruling out both Henry and Hayne remaining at the club next season. Greater Western Sydney's Toby Green has escaped another AFL suspension. The Giants star can accept a $1,500 fine from the match review panel after collecting Western Bulldogs midfielder Luke Dahlhaus in the face with his boot. Alexander Zverev has claimed the biggest victory of his career, defeating Roger Federer to win the Montreal Masters. The German rising star bullied his way past this year's Australian Open and Wimbledon champion in straight sets, thanks to short, power-driven rallies. It's been a stellar year for the 20-year-old, who also defeated Novak Djokovic to claim his first Masters trophy in Rome.
Beating Roger is something very special for me. He was my idol growing up. This one is unbelievable because it's my first one on hard courts.
In the women's event in Toronto, Elina Svitolina won the last 8 games of the final to down former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki. It's the Ukrainians' 5th title of the season. And finally in sport, there was a thrilling duel on the final lap of the Austrian MotoGP. Championship leader Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso traded passes at breakneck speed in Spielberg. The Ducati of Dovizioso snatching the bragging rights on the line. Thrilling stuff indeed. That's a day in sport.
Thank you so much, Darren. Coming up, the weather details and remembering Les Murray, the voice and heart of football in Australia.